To the Leeds Lens ad review. Leeds United's 3-1 loss away at Nottingham Forest. And anyone that watched my preview for the game, you'll know how I anticipated this game going. And to be honest, other than the fact that we actually scored a goal from Lucas Nemecha, I saw this game in this flesh. I knew we'd lose. I didn't want to come on the stream and just say we're definitely going to lose, blah blah blah. But I knew we'd lose. I absolutely knew we'd lose. We're just not good enough. Like we actually genuinely aren't. Like I think sometimes we've just got to look at the facts. And like I look at it today. We can talk about the manager, and probably we're going to get into the manager today. I would imagine we do, because I think now it's getting to a point where he's going to be in a bit of pressure, maybe a lot of pressure. Maybe I'm playing it down there. He's going to be in a lot of pressure, if we're being totally honest. But the question will always be, is that with the manager situation, is if we do sack Daniel Farke, are we going to get better? Is the team good enough? And are we going to get better with a new manager? And right now, I look at it, if I'm being totally honest, and I just don't see that outcome. I don't honestly. I wish I didn't think this. I wish I looked at our team and went, we're just a new manager away from this all changing. I don't think we are. I look at what we're playing today. They're awful, Forest. They've had an awful start to the season. That's their first win in the Premier League since the opening game of the season. They're on an absolutely abysmal run. Yet, I still look at their 11, and they have got so many players out today. They've got Olayena out, they've got Bakwa out, they've got the midfielder out as well. What's he called? I can't remember his name. But a midfield player out as well. Douglas Luiz out, of course, who they bought in the summer. And I'm looking at their start, and I'm looking at the players that they're bringing off the bench, and I'm thinking, like, all these players they're bringing off the bench would start for us. Like, Amari Hutchinson starts on our right-hand side all day, every single day, without a question about it. And I'm looking at him going, I just don't see. I just don't see where we're getting out of this. I really don't. And I don't want to come on here and be unbelievably negative. And people might go, oh, Scott, you're going over the top here. I generally don't think I am. I look through our 11, and I don't want to be defeatist, because I think in certain games we can compete. And I think the home games are obviously going to where Leeds United are going to have to somehow try to pick up points in. But in these away games, when we're going to grounds where they're bringing off players off the bench that would start for us, like, I just don't see anything. And then I'm looking at it going, obviously, I think the way we play is probably wrong at this point. Like, we're trying to sort of play through the lines. Like, we're trying to build up slowly from the back. We're the slowest build-up team in the division. There was a stat that came out the other day on this. And we're trying to do this slow, methodical build-up from the back. I watch us, though, and I think we're terrible at it. I think we're absolutely awful at it. I don't think we can build up on the back. All we seem to do, I'll put the team graphic on, is that when we've got the ball, say they drop a bit deeper like this, and Gibbs White plays here, and Jesus is a bit deeper. Jesus might be there. All we do, really, is we go Biol into Rodon, into Ampadu, back to Biol, into Rodon, into Ampadu, back to Biol, into Rodon. And it just goes round in a circle, Because I watch us, and I don't see any pattern to get out from the back. I watch, with the greatest respect, I watch Chelsea under Maresca. I watch Pep at Man City. I watch Leeds under Bielsa, which is the best example I can give you. Leeds under Bielsa had a way to get out from the back. If you're playing out from the back, you've got to get a way out. With Leeds United under Bielsa, we used to have the ball here every single time with Liam Cooper. What would happen is that he would drop into this gap, and this would be Calvin Phillips at the time. He'd then spray it out to Ayling and would be out every single time. We don't have anything like that with this Daniel Farke team to get us out. We don't. So if Daniel Farke can't coach a pattern of play to get Leeds United out from the back, if he can't coach that, then the other alternative is you go long. But the problem with going long is, and I know people just go, you go long, and I've even fallen into this trap at times. And I was thinking of it today because I saw this game happening a mile off. So I've almost been practicing my match reaction already. But if you go long, what ends up happening is you end up having, because what happens is if you go long here and you don't try play through, BL goes long into the Nemecha, he might win the header sometimes, and Stack might get on the end of it in this position, Longstaff might get in this position, and we might actually start to create stuff. But what will also happen is, a lot of the time, Nemecha, or if it's Calvert-Lewin, will lose this ball here, and then they'll come straight back at us, over and over again. It'll be wave after wave after wave of attack, and we'll play every game with about 30% possession. And if we play with 30% possession, with the defence that we've got, we will just lose. We'll just eventually they'll break us down because the team's better than ours, and eventually they'll just break us down and they'll score a goal. So I look at it and I go, if we go long, we'll give up possession and they'll have 70% of the ball and we'll concede that way. If we don't go long and play through the lines, then we're not good enough in the midfield and we don't show for the ball properly in the midfield and we don't have a pattern of play to get through. So what ends up happening is BL passes it into Ampadu, passes it into Rodon, and they go round in a little circle. They might go out to Bogle and then he goes back to Rodon and it goes on and on and on and we never go into the midfield at all. It just constantly goes backwards and eventually it goes into Stack or it goes into Ampadu, he makes a bad pass and then they start attacking us. And it happens every single time and we never create anything. In the last 2 games at half time, we have had more possession than the opposition. Today we had 51% of the ball today at half time. They had 10 shots at half time. We had one shot. And by the way, the shot was an unbelievable finish from Nemecha from about here into the far corner. Probably a 1 in 10 chance that you score. We were lucky to even score, if we're being totally honest today, because I thought until it went 2-1 where we had a few little moments, we didn't really create anything at all. So again, if you are going to play in this way and you are going to try sort of build out from the back, you've got to find a way to move the ball through the thirds to create chances. But I watch us and we don't. We don't have any way of getting through the thirds to create any chances, which is why, as I said, in the first half, we had 51% of the ball and we had 1 shot all in the whole half. And actually the goal comes from the ball going long and we win a scrappy build-up play. The ball goes out to Okafor, he battles for it. Aronson sort of plays it out to Nemecha and he fires it into the far corner. That's how the goal comes. But it doesn't come from our methodical build-up. We actually genuinely, in the first half, had 51% of the ball and we didn't actually create a shot from that build-up. We had 51% of the ball and we didn't create a shooting action because the shooting action, as I just said, didn't come from that moment. So, as I said, I look at it and I just go, what's the point? And we're also now as well, which we weren't doing earlier in the season, is we're just shipping so many goals now. It's ridiculous. Like again, it's another 3 goals today. It was 3 at Brighton. Well, with our front line, we're never going to win if we're conceding 3 goals. If we're being totally honest. But I'm looking at it and I'm going, and I'm surprised I haven't seen a comment already saying Farke out in the comments, and that's probably going to come, and people can have their opinion. My question to them people, and it's not that we shouldn't sack him anymore because I think. It's not just the results now, because we're not in a hideous position. We're not like sat where sort of Wolves are. We're not doing that bad. Like we're in the fight at the moment in time. But the question is this going to improve under this manager? Is it going to get better? Are we going to get out of this? Like you look at the weekend, West Ham have won and Nottingham Forest have won. We've got to now start picking up points because they're picking up points behind us. Are we now going to start picking up points under Daniel Farke to get us out of this mess? And that's where the question has got to be at the 49ers, because the thing is now we go into an international break, and there's got to be question marks, because am I going to see an improvement? Because for me, I'm not convinced that we are anymore. And I'm not saying I'm Daniel Farke out, because I don't think it's as basic as change the manager. As I said at the start, I almost wish it was. I wish we could just look at it and go, this squad is good enough, and if we change the manager, everything will change. But I look at the squad, I look at the front line, if I'm being totally honest, and we'll talk about the front line now. I'll look at the front line. We'll knock up the team graphic right now. This is our front line that started today. This is how I look at it, if I'm being totally honest. Nemecha isn't good enough to play in the Premier. I know he scored a nice goal today, and well done to him. His minutes per goals now probably looks quite good. That is all true. Nice goal today. I don't think he's a good enough striker for the Premier League, in my opinion. I don't think he's good enough. I don't think Calvert-Lewin's good enough, if I'm being honest, to be a striker in the Premier League. Aronson is definitely not good enough for me to be an attacker in the Premier League, playing week in, week out. No chance. Absolutely no chance. So already, out of our front 3, 2 of our front 3 are not good enough for me to play in the Premier League to a decent level to keep you in the division. So we've got Nemecha's not good enough, Aronson's not good enough, Calvert-Lewin's not good enough. Okafor is okay, he's fine. As I said, if we had Okafor on the right-hand side, that's that level of player, we might be all right. So we'll leave him out. We'll say Okafor's okay. We then, though, don't have someone in the midfield who is good enough, who's going to create stuff. We don't have a Gustavo Hamer. We don't have, I know we're not going to have these players, but we don't have a Martin Odegaard level player. We don't have someone of quality in the midfield to get on the ball and players. We don't have a number 10 at the football club. So out of your 4 attacking positions, like you look at Forest today, they're 4 attackers. You've got Dominguez, you've got Gibbs-White, you've got Ndoye, and you've got Jesus. Off the bench, they've got a Wanye, they've got Chris Wood. They've also got somebody else, I think, as well. I can't even come to the conclusion. On the right-hand side, they've got Ndoye. who actually played on the left, actually, so that should be the other way around. But they've got on the right hand side, they've got Dominguez, they've got Hutchinson, they've got Bakwa, who we wanted in the summer, by the way, but ended up going to Forest. So they've got 3 players who are much better than ours on the right hand side. Then on the left hand side, they've got, I'm trying to think who they've got on the left hand side, but again, they've got loads of quality, and they've got Gibbs White in the number 10. We don't have anything like that. We just don't have anything like that. We just don't have. That's why I worry about the quality of the team, because they're not a good team for us. Like, they are where they are for a reason. They've got decent players, I think, but they've only won one. They haven't won since the opening game of the season. Yeah, I look at their team and their front line, and I just think it's streets ahead of ours. Streets ahead, which is why I'm disappointed, because if Daniel Farke is sacked, I don't think with that front line, I think you're still going to have the same problems, because I just don't think they're good enough. Anyway, I'll get into some of you guys' comments. And as I said, I don't want to be overly negative, because I saw this game coming a mile off, so I'm not even that. I'm almost not angry, because I expected it. PSF says Farke's Leeds United have lost two of the favourites for relegation. Farke has only ever won 4 away games in 47. Farke's Leeds are 1 point off the relegation zone, even with Farke's 1 point a game. Yeah, I get what you mean. BMG says, for me, it's more about the players than Farke. Aronson, probably our best player, which is a concern. Yeah, I didn't think he was awful. Harrison blew the slim chance we had of getting anything. I think recruitment wasn't good. Yeah, well, the recruitment side of it. I mean, I said a few days ago on the channel. I don't know if people heard this. They probably did. I thought we were 50 million quid off in the summer. That's what and I still think that right now. And I'm on about 50 million to maybe stay in the division, if I'm being totally honest. Like, I look through the team and I think we're 50 million quid short. I think we needed probably a better number 9 than we've got. I think we needed a better right winger, and I think we needed someone in the midfield who can provide a creative spark and be someone like it. Doesn't have to be Gibbs White level, just someone of his profile, someone that can do the things that Gibbs White can do. Someone like a Gustavo Hamer. We needed a Gustavo Hamer in the middle. We needed a new right winger of quality. Someone like maybe a Bakwa or whoever you want on the right hand side, or Hutchinson. I know he costs loads, so obviously he's not a good example, but someone of his quality. And probably a number 9. If you had them 3 positions and you had that extra 50 million, let's have a conversation. But we don't have that. And that's where I'm really worried, because I just don't. I'm just at a loss at how we can change it. I really am. But I do think it gets to a point where, and I actually genuinely don't think we're probably just at this point yet. I think we're getting there. I do think we're on a course to it, if I'm being honest. But I think it gets to a point where you go, even if it's not the manager's fault, even if the squad isn't good enough, and whoever the new manager comes in won't be able to fix this, you've got to gamble, because at the moment I look at it and I go, we are going one direction. Like, we're not going Harry Styles. We're going, but we are going one direction at this moment in time, and it isn't the way we all want to be going. It just isn't. And I think that when you get to a point where you're like that, you go, even if a new manager won't change this, it's worth it, because we will go down with Farke, is what, and I think we'll get to that point. I'm not quite sure we're just there yet. Anyway, let's have a look. I also thought BL was at fault for the second goal. It was obvious that he had to mark Gibbs White and he let him go, worrying. Yeah, to an extent, although Gibbs White's a third-man runner, he's also a midfield player. So should Ampadu or Longstaff or Stack, one of our midfielders, be tracking their midfield runs into the box? I think potentially, but I know what you mean. The defending for the second goal was awful. Although I will say, by the way, and this needs to be said, and I don't usually talk about the referee. The referee, I thought, was awful again today. Really, really bad. I mean, what happens for their second goal, by the way, which ruins the whole game, is that Stack gets completely wiped out by their player. It should be a foul to Leeds United where we've got an opportunity to put the ball into the box. Instead, what happens, the referee gives it the wrong way because he was useless all game and he was just next to Dyche and everything next to Dyche. I remember the time in the second half as well where the ball goes over. It's our ball for a throw-in. Dyche goes, no, it's their way. And he waits and waits and waits and bottles it and gives it their way as well. But the goal, as I said, the second goal comes because Stack gets wiped out by their player. He gives it the wrong way. He actually gives a foul to Forest, which is just remarkable. Then from that free kick, the ball gets smashed out wide to Hutchinson, who puts the ball into our box and they score a goal. Whereas what would have happened if the referee had done his job and given it the right way is that we would have an opportunity to put the ball into the box and that goal wouldn't have happened. Now, could we defend better for the second goal? Of course we could. But does it come because the referee gives a foul the wrong way? Yes, 100% it does. So the referee has got to hold accountability for that as well, in my opinion. Gary says, Farke picks the tactics, not the players. you play how the manager wants you to play. You don't get picked. It's 100,000. It's 1,000% Farke's fault. Stop sticking up for a crap manager who will get us relegated. So as I said, Gary, then by the way, I have no issue with people think this, and I hope you guys are right, because I know we've got people on the channel who think the squad's better than I do. I know we have people on this channel that think that, and that's why they don't like Farke, because they think a different manager will get better results. Fundamentally, a lot of people think in our fan base, a different manager with a different manager, we will get better results and we'd have better performance levels and we win more games. And potentially you think that as well, Gary, from what you're saying. I just don't have that viewpoint. I don't think if we... maybe Farke could do better, but I don't think if we brought in a different manager, we'd see drastically better results. I think people will be surprised that when we bring in a new manager, which I think will happen at some point, I don't think it'll happen just now, but I think it will happen at some point. If we bring in a new manager, I think people will go, oh my God, our squad is dreadful. It wasn't actually all Farke's problem. Farke was maybe not good enough, but the squad isn't good enough either. Because what happens for everybody when we do sack Farke, if that does happen, and we do bring in a new manager and the results don't get better? What do we do then? Is it the new manager's fault again? Do you know what I mean? Like that's my worry. That's my worry. Scott, Farke will act cowardly. Scott, Farke will carry on with his cowardly tactics until he's sacked. I don't believe another manager would approach games like Farke. Fair enough. But I suppose you're of the opinion, PSF, that if we change the way we play and we don't go as cowardly in your opinion, that we'd get better outcomes and we get better results. And I hope you're right, PSF, because I really do hope you're right. Because if you're right and if we change the tactics, we'll get better results. Then we've got a way to stay up in this division. But if I'm right and the squad isn't good enough, then if we change manager, it doesn't improve, like I don't think it will, then we're in real bother, aren't we? Because actually, if we're just a manager change away, that's brilliant. That's best outcome at this point. But I worry that the squad's just not good enough, like I talked about with the front line. Like I'm just like, it's just so bad for this level, in my opinion. And as I said, I don't want to be overly negative, but I'm saying what I'm seeing, people. That's what I'm doing. Playing like that, we'll be lucky to pick up many points away. We have to win 6 or 7 more games at home, which is looking like a stretch. Yeah, it is. It is. We have got still quite a few good home games to go. We've still got Wolves to play at home. We've still got Burnley to play at home. We've still got Fulham to play at home. Like we've still got Forest to play at home as well. There's 4 games there that we could potentially win at home already. So then if you won all them, I mean, you're probably not going to win all anyway, because it's not how it quite works. But if you did win all them 4 games, you're then at 7 wins, and then you just need 3 more. And we've got Villa, which maybe you can get something in as well. But they won 4-0 against Bournemouth today. But that's why I was so gutted when we didn't pick up them points against Bournemouth. Because when we're in that position at home, we've got to make sure we get them results to the line. Because a lot of times we're going to struggle otherwise. Really not ideal that Farke brought on Harrison, who then did nothing other than concede a penalty. They're both going to get pelters. Yeah, I know. I 100%. Harrison will get absolute pelters. I've got to be honest, though, with the Harrison substitution. Maybe people will completely disagree with me on this, and this might be my most wildest take in a while. I actually understood the Harrison substitution, because Harrison's actually not an awful crosser of the ball, in my personal opinion. And I think what Farke thought is, we'll put on 2 wingers, and Harrison's not hideous defensively, although he made a hideous mistake today. He's not usually hideous defensively. And he's more attacking than Goodmanson is on that left-hand side. So maybe if you bring Harrison on, he can put a ball in which can score Leeds United a goal, and it's more attacking than Goodmanson. So I didn't think the substitution was totally ridiculous, but now it looks ridiculous because obviously the action that Harrison did where he pulled him down for a penalty. But I thought Hutchinson just bought the penalty anyway. I thought he did the classic thing, which is what he should be doing, by the way. But he beats Harrison and then just comes across him, creates contact, goes down, wins a penalty, and then obviously it's game over at that point. I think Wolves and Burnley will go down. The worry is that Forest, West Ham and Fulham, etc. have too many good players and will get out of it. That is my exact worry, BMG. That is my exact worry. I completely share your viewpoint. That is the main worry, is that I agree. I think we can get above Wolves and Burnley. I think we can. I think that's totally plausible. My worry is there isn't another team that I look at, in my opinion, who have got way less quality than we have. And we can feasibly finish above. Maybe it's West Ham, but they've just won back-to-back games. I don't think Forest, come the end of the season, will be down there, in my opinion. I just don't think they will. I don't think they were brilliant today, but they got the job done, and I don't think they'll be down there. I think they'll end up finishing about 14th, 13th, something like that. But like maybe 5-10 points clear of the relegation zone. But yeah, that's my total worry. I think if you're a neutral looking at this moment in time and you're not a Leeds fan, you are saying that it's going to be Wolves, Burnley, and Leeds that are dropping. You are saying that. And this weekend was massive. I mean, this weekend was huge. I talked about it on a show this week where I talked about sort of we play away at Forest, Burnley play away at West Ham. Both teams, Leeds and Burnley, need to prove to the Premier League that we are capable of staying in this division. And the way to do that was one of us or both of us had to pick up results in the away games and create a bit of chaos at the bottom of the division. And with both of us have gone 1-0 up and lost the game. And I think we are better than Burnley. But my point is that we need to do something special today and go there and not just do what everybody expected, which was go there and lose. And we've just fallen into every single neutral's hands that thinks that Leeds are going to go down this season by going there and losing. So yeah, but that's where I'm at. We'll run through player ratings now and then we'll wrap it up. This has been, I must admit, this has obviously been quite a negative stream, but I mean, it's going to be negative, innit? I mean, it is going to be negative. Perry, I think it's harsh to talk about the first goal because I'm wondering where he can actually parry that. I don't think he can grab it, but it probably is a mistake. So he probably gets a 5, I guess. Goodmanson, he had one good run in the second half, didn't he, as well? So I mean, he probably gets a bit of credit for that, but maybe he could do better on the first goal defending. Although I think it was a 3v1 and a 3v2 when someone else helped him. He probably gets a 5. Biol, probably a 5. Rodon, probably a 5. Bogle, I think Bogle 4. I thought Bogle was bad today. I thought it was probably Bogle's worst game of the season at right back, if I'm being honest. So I'd probably give him a 4. I thought he was pretty bad on the ball, if I'm being honest. Ampadu as the holding midfielder for Leeds. I don't think he was great either, to be honest. Probably a 5. Stack didn't make any difference compared to Tanaka at all. I'm wondering about that signing, to be honest. I'm starting to worry about him, if I'm being honest. But we'll talk about that probably another time. But Stack, yeah, probably a 4. I just don't think he does enough, to be honest. Longstaff was absolutely awful again. He's been really bad for a while, for a few games now. I thought it was horrendous at Brighton. I thought it was horrendous today. He was probably a 4. I thought and do you remember that set piece in the first half where all he has to do is just play a simple pass and he hits it against the wall? Like, it's just, you just can't do that. And constantly kept giving the ball away. On the ball, Longstaff's not good enough. On the ball, he's just not good enough. He's really good at tackling. He's really good in the duel. He's really physical. He runs around a lot. He works hard. But he's not good enough on the ball. Okafor, probably 5, although I don't think he got a lot of service. Nemecha, probably a 6 for the goal. We'll give him man of the match and a 6 for the goal. Aronson, I actually agree with BMG. I thought he wasn't. He gives the ball away all the time, and he's not strong enough or anything like that. But probably a 6 as well. Farke. The substitutions weren't on long enough to do it. They can all get 6s. But Farke, it's tricky because I'm struggling at what he's. As I said, I'm not totally convinced it's going to change. I'm just not totally convinced it's going to change with a different manager. So I don't know. The Farke one's tricky. I'd probably end up giving him a 5. No, 4. We've lost against a not an unbelievable team, a team we've not won since the opening game of the season. Let's get into some of your guys' comments. Even before Brighton game, I thought we'd lose, and today, yeah, I did, Baz, yeah, I did. I thought we'd lose both games. Scott, I don't know if you've noticed, all our opposition have started bringing on attacking players in the second half because they know Farke makes the team play defensively every second half. I don't think it's just that, mate, as well. I think we weren't seeing that in the Championship. We're seeing that because Forest, regardless of what we think, are obviously targeting today as a win for them. They needed to win today. I thought a draw for us wasn't that bad today, but they needed to win today, in my opinion, and that's why he made them changes, in my opinion. PSF, I think Dyche went for it because he needed to win, and it worked for him. I don't know if you're saying I can't read a game of football. That's fine. We have different opinions. Of course, it will change under the manager. I just disagree, Clive. Remember the Arsenal game? Their first 11 plus subs bench wouldn't have any we wouldn't have had no player in the 18-man squad. No Leeds player would have got in that squad. Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. Leeds Live have given all the back four a 7 out of 10. Weird. Yeah, that is slightly bizarre. Yeah, I guess they've got. Yeah, we needed to win. I didn't think we did actually. We had 5 points on Nottingham Forest going into the game. If we'd have kept that 5-point gap on Nottingham Forest, that'd have been pretty good, in my opinion. Yeah, we just disagree, Clive, because I think again you probably fall into the category that you think our squad is better than I do. I think that's what it is, and I just don't think that. As I said, I desperately hope Clive, PSF, all you guys who think that maybe all this sort of stuff, I desperately hope you are right. I honestly do, because if you're right and we can change the manager and stay in the league, we all win. Because I want Leeds United to win. That's what I want. I want Leeds United to stay in the league. I want Leeds United to win. I want Leeds United to progress. But I just hope you're right. That's all I'm saying. Scott, forget the championship. Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say is that when we're going to Forest, we're probably happy with a draw. I would have been okay with a draw today. I would have been okay with a draw. Forest are not, as a fan base and their manager and their ownership, would not have been happy drawing to Leeds United today. So they've got to bring on attackers to try and win the game. You may disagree, but you're wrong. Well, we'll see. The proof will be in the pudding. The proof will be in the pudding. We've spent 100 million. Yeah, we have. And they had a better squad to start with, mate, and they spent another 200 million in the summer. So, let's have a conversation about that, shall we? Because we've got to remember other teams exist. It's not just Leeds United. They spent 200 million in the summer. We spent 100 million. They finished in Europe, in the Premier League last season and spent another 200 million. So let's not take the mick here. Come on. I'm not going to read any more of your chats, to be honest, because it's just, I don't think you're giving any. The squad is better than you think, Scott. Well, that's what I mean. That's where we disagree, PSF. That's just where we fundamentally disagree. The positives are that Dan James looked quite lively, so might give us more of a threat in future games. A point away would have been fine, by the way. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I thought a point would have been absolutely fine. A point would have been absolutely fine. Anyway, I think we're going around in circles a bit, and Clive, I think, is getting too angry. Joking, but yeah. I get it, BMG. I know we're always that's gonna be how it's gonna be. People are frustrated because Leeds United are not in a good spell, and I get that. I'm frustrated as well. But coming on and screaming at people online because they disagree with you, I think it's a bit of a mad way of doing it. But that's up to them. Leeds fans are so fanatical. It blinds so many of the supporters into a sense. Reality, 17th would be okay at the end of the season. Calm down, Clive, lad. Yeah, well, I think, yeah, the chat probably speak for me in that sense, Clive, potentially. Anyway, thanks all for watching, as always, everybody. And it's international break now, so at least Leeds United cannot lose next weekend. That is a positive. Can we have a round of applause for that? That is the moment of the weekend. Leeds United can't lose next weekend. Obviously, the next game is Villa at home, which I do actually think, to be honest, we're going to end on a positive. I do think the Villa game, for me, from what I've seen from Leeds United in home games, I think we can compete at home from what I've seen from Leeds United at home. So I do actually think the Villa game at home, although they've just beat Bournemouth 4-0 today, which is not ideal, I do think the home games are where Leeds United are going to have the best points in. And I do actually think, if you said what we more like to pick up points in, Scott, Forest away or Villa at home, where we most like to pick up points, I actually think Villa at home's more likely chance to pick up points. So that is a positive. Although after that, we've got Liverpool, Man City, and Chelsea. So, Anyway, thanks all for watching, as always, everybody. And I will see you all later, everybody. Bye for now.